You all are welcome to this online learning platform with me. I'm Shyam Panchal from Takshila Model Senior Secondary School. So students, first of all, I hope that you all are fine, right? And today's topic, that is the chapter number 7 of your book, Roots and Wings. The chapter has been taken from class 8. So the title of this chapter is Ahemdabad, India's first World Heritage City. So students, in this chapter we are not going to read about the story of a person. We are just going to read some details about the city Ahmedabad, which makes it a metropolitan city, right? With the help of these points which I have written on board, right, we will just try to have a detailed explanation of this chapter, right? I have just arranged these points in order, right, in chronological order, so that we can understand each and everything very clearly, right? So here let us just start the explanation of the chapter, but before we do so, I want all of you to open your books. All of you should open your respective books and follow where I am just going to give you the explanation from. So let's start. So students, let's now talk about the city of Ahmedabad. The city of Ahmedabad is actually located in the western part of India, right? It is located on the bank of river Sabarmati. Ahemdabad is actually a metropolitan city. Metropolitan city is a city, right, which has a lot of small towns and big towns in it, right? And it has economic and cultural significance, right? We can simply say a huge piece of land, right, which is quite important in various aspects. Such a city is called a metropolitan city. It has a history, right? Its history means the earliest settlement. I have now just told you about the foundation. I'll tell you. Let me just tell you about the earliest settlement of this city. The earliest settlement means the earliest people, right, were believed to have existed in 12th century BC. In 12th century, sorry, right, during the time of Chalukya dynasty. So during the time of Chalukya dynasty, the early people or the early inhabitants of this city, Ahemdabad, right, were believed to have existed. Now let me just tell you about the foundation of this city. Now the present day city Ahemdabad actually got its name, right, during 1411 AD, right, during 1411 AD, in the time of Ahmad Shah I, the emperor of Gujarat Sultanate. So he just declared this city Ahemdabad, right, as the capital of his sultanate in the year 1411. The same year, right, the same year he just announced it as the capital of his sultanate, right? So this is the foundation. I have told you about location. Here the earliest settlement, which date back to 12th century during the time of Chalukya dynasty. Now here, what is the vernacular name given to this city, right? Vernacular here means local name, or what do the people in local language call this city. So Ahemdabad in local language, in vernacular language, is actually known by the name Ahmedabad. What? Ahmedabad. A-M-D-A-V-A-D. Ahmedabad, right? We call it what? Ahmedabad. Ahmedabad. And the people or the inhabitants of this city are called Ahmedabadis, right? What are they called? Ahmedabadis. I-S is added to it. Ahmedabadis, right? So this is a vernacular name given to this city. Now let us just take a look at the industrial and economic significance. So this city, Ahmedabad, is actually also known by the name Manchester of India. Students, do you know what is Manchester? Manchester is actually a city, right? A city of UK, right? It is a very distinguished city of UK, and it is known for its textile mills, right, for its textile industry, right. It is the hub of textile industry in UK. Now our city Ahmedabad, right, it is just considered to be, it is just compared with the city Manchester, which is located in UK, right? Why? Because Manchester is actually a hub of textile industry, and the climatic conditions are quite favorable for uh, uh, for just yarning the thread, right? And the river Marshy, which flows in this region of Manchester, is actually quite favorable for dyeing the thread, right? Similarly, in Ahemdabad, the river, that is the Sabarmati, which flows through the plains of Gujarat, right, actually provides favorable conditions, or it is just quite helpful in just dyeing the thread, right? For thread means the piece of cloth, we can say, means thread is the basic unit out of which, or with which we just framework we just with which we just manufacture cloth, right? So since Ahmedabad has the biggest textile industry, right? Similarly, and it is the most important textile, it is the most important hub of textile industry. So Ahmedabad is compared to the city of Manchester in UK, right? Because Ahmedabad is also a biggest textile industry in India, right? Now we have, this is industrial and economic significance. So students, during after independence, right, or no, we can say during the British rule, right, during the British rule, Ahmedabad had a great planning strategy, economic planning strategy, right? It was just soaring higher, it was just making progress by leaps and bounds. There was a great hub of industry, especially textile industry, right? So its economic planning strategy was much talked about those days, and especially the neighboring countries used to just copy the model of Ahmedabad. There is one example given in your books. The example is of Korea, South Korea. South Korea actually just copied this planning structure, right? Economic planning strategy of Ahmedabad, and the World Economic Center, right, was just framed, and it was modeled, right? It was modeled after what? After the Ahmedabad economic planning strategy. Means the economic planning strategy which was adopted by the Ahmedabad, the industrialist in Ahmedabad, right? So during the British time, it had a great significance. During the British time, right, the industry, especially the textile industry, just spread far and wide, and it had just established itself, right, into a firm position. So this is what we just read about the economic and industrial significance of this city. Now here we will discuss what? We will discuss the cultural diversity of this city, Ahmedabad's cultural diversity. So when we just take a look at Ahmedabad's cultural diversity, we come to know that Ahmedabad is a place which is inhabited by the people of various religions, right? Especially Hindus, Muslims, Christians, and all. Means there are people from varying religions, right? Now there are certain places which you can just visit. Means the certain places are there worth visiting. Few places I have just written on board here, but all the places are mentioned in your books, right, in your textbooks. So places like Kirti Stambh and Siddhi Bashir Minars, Swami Narayan Temple, and Teen Darwaja, right, with its eternal lamp, right, which symbolizes the unity between Hindus and Muslims. So these are the places worth visiting in Ahmedabad, right? Now we have the festivals. Let us now talk about which festivals are actually celebrated in the city of Ahmedabad. So here we just come to know there is Navratri Festival, which is celebrated by the people of Ahmedabad with great fervor, right, with great enthusiasm, right? And during this festival, or on the occasion of this festival, the famous and popular dance of Gujarat state, that is known as Garba, right? It is performed by the men and women who are just clad in beautiful and colorful dresses, right? Then there comes the Rath Yatra of the Jagannath Temple, right? There is Jagannath Temple and a Rath Yatra. This is a custom, right? Rath Yatra is called chariot procession, right? So a chariot procession is just held every year, right? And this is actually the pride of the city. It is written in the chapter, right? So this is a point of attraction, right, for people and for the tourists around the world, right? So these are the two things. These are the two religious festivals which are celebrated in Ahmedabad. Now we come to know about some other things which just make this city a metropolitan city. Now here we just take a look at the museums and academic institutions, right? So when we talk about museums, there are a lot of museums. I have mentioned the name of a few museums. There is one Calico Textile Museum. This is, now you can understand that this is a textile museum. Then there is City Museum. Then there is LD Museum of Indology, right? There are one more or maybe two more names written in your textbooks, right? So this city has a lot of museums, right? So when you just visit this city, you will be just delighted to visit these museums, right? Then we just call Ahmedabad as the city of academic institutions. Means, right, it is called the hub of academic institutions. Why? What earns a title of academic institution for the city actually is the availability of great institutions, great academic institutions, like we have Indian Institute of Management, right? And we have in National Institute of Design, and there are etc. Means there are some other names mentioned in your textbook, right? So actually education on almost every field, right, is just imparted to the students, imparted to the aspiring students. That is why we just call Ahmedabad is the city of academic institutions, right? So students, here with these points we have now just come to know what this Ahmedabad city is actually known for, and what is the significance about social, cultural and economic significance of Ahmedabad, right? So basically overall we can say, if we just sum up our words, right, if we just summarize the points we have discussed, we come to know that Ahmedabad is a city, it is a metropolitan city, and it is a city which is known for its textile industry, right? Apart from having greatest textile industry in India, it is also known for its festivals, its cultural diversity, and its academic institutions and museums, right? Now we have the next point, that is the Gandhi's association with the city. Okay, now we just come to know about the political status of Ahmedabad, right? Political status. So when we talk about Mahatma Gandhi, we know Mahatma Gandhi is the father of the nation, as well as he was a great political figure in India, right? So this story actually begins at the time when Mahatma Gandhi returned from South Africa. Mahatma Gandhi returned from South Africa in the year 1915, right? So in after his return, what Mahatma Gandhi actually did, he just established his two ashrams, right? His two ashrams in the city Ahmedabad, right? He chose what? He chose the city of Gujarat. Though Mahatma Gandhi himself was a Gujarati, right? Yet he chose the city. Which city? The city of Gujarat, that is Ahmedabad, and he established two ashrams there, right? The name of first ashram is Kaushrab Ashram. The second ashram is Satyagraha Ashram, right? The word Satyagraha actually signifies that Mahatma Gandhi just ran a movement which was termed as Satyagraha Andolan or Satyagraha movement, right? So Satyagraha Ashram, Satyagraha actually simply means sticking on to the fact of truth, or sticking on to truth, right? Satyagraha means sticking on to truth, means you just need to follow what? Only truth, nothing else, right? And when you are just following the truth, you are doing what? You are just keeping yourself away from violence, right? Means you are following non-violence. So Mahatma Gandhi, as we know, was a great follower of non-violence. So he termed, or he just named his ashram, right? What? Satyagraha Ashram. But later on, this name was actually changed, right? And it was changed to what? It was changed to Harijan Ashram, and or the other name was given to this ashram was Sabarmati Ashram, which we know even today by this name, right? So Sabarmati Ashram was just given the new name to this ashram, right? Sabarmati, there is a river, right, on the banks of which this city Ahmedabad is situated. So Sabarmati Ashram was given the name to his second ashram, right? So this was actually the place for Mahatma Gandhi where he conducted all his activities. What kind of activities? He was actually involved in the national movement, right? National movement for what? For India's independence. So he was a great figure for India's struggle for freedom, right? So he actually did what? He conducted all his activities from this, from his ashram, Sabarmati Ashram, right? So this Sabarmati Ashram, the place which is situated in the city of Ahemdabad, is holds the greatest significance, which is associated with Dandi March. You must have heard about Dandi March, right? Which just took place in the year 1930, right? So in 1930, what actually happened? Mahatma Gandhi, along with a few of his followers, he just started, started a march, right? It started a yatra, a journey, right, to the village, a coastal village that was known as Dandi, right? And that is why we call this Dandi March or Dandi Yatra as well, right? Or this was actually a movement which Mahatma Gandhi ran, right, against the British. And what was this for? Actually, this was against the British government. The British government, which just imposed a tax on the salt making, right? So actually the people, especially the people of coastal areas, they used to do what? They just used to make their living by making salt on the banks of the seas or the rivers, right? But what actually happened, these Britishers actually imposed a tax on this thing, right? So on their own land, the people were just people were just prevented from making salt. A tax was just imposed on them, or the salt making was banned. So Mahatma Gandhi just stood against this move, and he ran a movement that was termed as Satyagraha movement, or Dandi March. We just also know this by this name, right? So since Mahatma Gandhi conducted his important, activities related to the national movement, right? This place also holds the greatest significance with this regards, right? So this is what we have read about Gandhi's association with the city, right? Now here, let me just tell you one more name which is mentioned in your book, that is the name of Sardar Patel. Sardar Patel, who is known as the Iron Man of India. He is known as the Iron Man of India because he is believed to have unified the entire country in one bond, right? So this the great person, the great national movement activist, right, Sardar Patel, actually used to serve the administration of Ahemdabad, right, before he joined the national movement, right, for freedom. So apart from that, yes, I have explained this to you, what is Manchester of India, right? I mean, why is this city compared to the Manchester, the city of a city of United Kingdom or UK or Great Britain, right? So students, now I have explained all the important things which are there in this chapter, right? From the geographical condition to the cultural diversity and your Gandhi's association with this city, right? The rest of the things, students, you will come to know, though I hope that I have left nothing, right, in this chapter. I have explained everything to you. Still, I suggest you to go through the chapter once more, right? When you read the chapter from line to line, it will just help you know a lot of things, quite interesting things. Besides this, the PDF that I will be sending you, right, this PDF has been specifically designed in a way that the events are put in a chronological order, right? So along with reading the text in your books, you can also, not only can, you must also read the PDF, right, which has been properly designed, means designed in a chronological order. I have just gone through the textbook, and I have seen that few events are not just chronologically arranged, right? But the PDF file which I'm sending you, the notes are there, and you must read those notes, and this chapter will be absolutely clear to you, right? So students, finally I just conclude, when I have read about this city Ahmedabad, I feel like visiting this once, right? Though I have never visited this place, but I hope I will soon be visiting this place, right? So students, with this I come to an end, right? One more thing, do learn the word meanings which are there in the chapter. Explanation is also given, right, along with the words. So students, I just want all of you to be studying this chapter with full devotion, right? Now I'll be back with a new chapter very soon. So till then, be happy, keep smiling. Thank you very much.